Here's a chart of what teams in the NBA are spending on their top 3 players. And this is where the Phoenix Suns are. And this is where they're at in the standings. Something isn't right. Going into the season, the 2023 Phoenix Suns had a lot of potential. After having Kevin Durant for about a half a season and having a very eventful offseason where they got Bradley Beal and a bunch of new role players on this team, it seemed like Phoenix was destined for greatness. But yet, the first 10 games of the Phoenix Suns season has been questionable. Devin Booker looks like he could win MVP if he could play more than 3 games. People have been saying Kevin Durant has fallen off despite him averaging 30 points per game on pretty efficient numbers. And Bradley Beal has finally made a season debut, but just after 3 games, he's now sitting out for an unquestionable amount of time. And with the record of 4-6 right now, you would think this team has been mid, and to be honest, they have been. But is this necessarily Phoenix's fault? Is it the way they built the team? There's lots of questions around this team. A lot of the questions that people had at the beginning of the year was about injury problems and just things about certain players. For example, Jusuf Nurkic being the anchor of this defense, it didn't seem like it was going to be a good move. And in game 1, he looked fine versus the Warriors. He actually looked like he'd be a great defensive anchor. And while his stats have been pretty okay, I would say on the defensive side, he hasn't been the best. But offensively, he hasn't been that bad. In the pick and roll game, I actually think he's pretty solid. But the injuries, those have been pretty tragic this season. For once, Kevin Durant has been the healthiest player on this roster so far, knock on wood. Devin Booker, the one player that a lot of people thought the team ran through, well, that theory is seeming to be right. Devin Booker has only played in 30% of the Suns games so far, and he's averaged over 30 points per game in all 3 of those games. But Bradley Beal's back. That's now a concern that I don't think Phoenix was ready for. Even when Beal was healthy, or at least when we thought he was healthy, he didn't look the same as a player. His step was kind of slow. He wasn't the best scorer. He did struggle in the first game, but in the second game, he kind of bounced back. But he just doesn't look like the same player as he was in Washington. And the fact that the Suns are paying him $60 million this season for this, it's kind of depressing. But the Suns knew the risk they were taking when they made that trade. Now, as a Suns fan, I've watched every single game that Phoenix has played so far, and I have concerns of my own that I don't know if the average NBA fan is going to bring up. For one, the concerns about Phoenix's defense, well, those have been true. Phoenix is not the best defensive team in the NBA. I thought they were a team that could possibly be top 10, but I was wrong. But according to Basketball Reference, they are number 14 in defensive rating, which means they're basically mid. But wait, the Suns also have the 17th best offensive rating in the NBA? I thought offense was the one thing they were supposed to be good at. While the defense wasn't going to be best, it seemed like that Phoenix was going to try to outscore their opponent in every single game, and hopefully their defense could be subpar. So through all the numbers and technically with their record, they are just about mid. A team that was set up to win an NBA title, a team that put everything on the line this year, has been playing mid. And I know what a lot of people want to say right now, but Spex, Devin Booker has missed most of the season, Bradley Beal has missed most of the season. And while these are things that are definitely true and they've contributed to the Suns being bad, there's things that just don't matter. Like, answer me this, how much is Bradley Beal going to affect the defensive presence of the Phoenix Suns? As good of a two-way player as Devin Booker is, and how some people may disagree, Devin Booker is not going to affect the defense on a very, very large scale. Sure, he might be able to lock up his matchup or put up a pretty good fight, but he's not going to be able to affect the entire defense. That lies on the hands of Jusuf Nurkic, and we've already said he has not been a good defensive anchor. I know some people might try to blame Frank Vogel, but I don't think that's the case. Frank Vogel's actually done a pretty solid job this year despite the team's record, and I think he's going to get things going, as the season progresses. I've also noticed some of the role players that Phoenix brought on have not been having the best of production. For example, Yuta Watanabe, someone I was very confident in, has just not been the same. And it's weird, guys that nobody cared about like Keita Bates-Diop, even Grayson Allen, even Eric Gordon, they've been doing amazing. Like, Eric Gordon has a legitimate chance to win the 6th Man of the Year award. Now let's be honest, as a Suns fan, the first 10 games have been tragic. Seeing what Phoenix has been playing like, it just hasn't been good. I mean, let's be honest, maybe the Suns, they did too much. Maybe they should have kept the team they had. The Kevin Durant trade, sure, it made them better in some ways, but maybe it made them worse. Sure, while Devin Booker and Bradley Beal have been injured, are they really going to fix the defense? How much are they going to affect the offense? I mean, the West, it's been scary. Teams like the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, and the East, they're looking very scary this year. The people that said the Suns are going to make the play-in, are they right? Is Phoenix going to make the playoffs just off the play-in? I mean, maybe, and I say maybe, this team isn't gonna do shit this year. Or maybe I should shut the fuck up. Is there a possibility that Phoenix struggling these first 10 games is kind of normal? I mean, for one, the entire team's roster was completely changed. And yes, those injuries have definitely played a factor on how Phoenix is actually done. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna perceive this season like Bradley Beal doesn't even fucking exist. If Bradley Beal's on the team, that's great. If he gets healthy and his back gets back into shape, that's fucking amazing. But truth be told, Bradley Beal is not why Phoenix is losing, and he's not the reason why they're going to possibly do well this year. Devin Armani Booker, this team, it runs through him. There's no more questions about this. A lot of people were saying when Kevin Durant was traded to Phoenix that this was now his team. He was the leader of the Phoenix Suns. I don't know who actually thought that, but this has always been and will always be Devin Booker's team. Oh no, guys, here comes Spex, the delusional Suns fan. Yeah, I'm talking to you, jaw NBA nerd. You've said it more times than enough. Well, damn, I guess that means the best rated defense in the NBA, which is the Minnesota Timberwolves, are going to crush the Phoenix Suns, especially because the Timberwolves are now at full strength. Anthony Edwards is on fire. The defense as a whole is on fire. They're the #2 team in the West right now. Surely Phoenix, who has Devin Booker now just coming back and Bradley Beal once again injured, they're going to struggle, right? I mean, there is no way Phoenix just blows them out, right? Well, if you thought Phoenix was going to get shut down, you were sadly fucking mistaken.
Booker, a little heavy, penetrating off. Just settled with the ejection. Bruce steps to it. Rand 2007. Yeah, look, we talked about the eases. What left left-handed, right.
It was never about Bradley Beal being out or Kevin Durant being out. It was all about Devin Booker. I think we all overreacted to Phoenix's early struggles because they didn't have Devin Booker. And you know what? Maybe their defense isn't that bad because Anthony Edwards has been on fire recently. This man is averaging about 28 points per game, and Phoenix held him to 13 points on 4 of 16 shooting. This Suns team has been a little bit confusing, but that's probably because they were missing the main piece. The Suns have lost a lot of these like winnable games where they were just right there, but they made a couple small mistakes. Like the Laker games they were in, I'm not gonna lie, there is a real possibility they could have won both of those games if Devin Booker was playing. The unfortunate reality is that it's been 10 games in, and a lot of people just don't have the time to sit here and be like, hold on, maybe Phoenix isn't that bad. Now, was I kind of stressing about Phoenix and their season this year? I was, of course I was. But I sat back for a sec, and I was getting ready to record this video. I had the thought, should we really be judging Phoenix after 10 games when they have a brand new roster and Devin Booker has missed 70% of those games? Shit, I don't think we should, and I think you guys shouldn't either. About the first half of this video, it was kind of concerns that I had, but also things that other people have been saying. For the last half of this video, it has been the scary truth about this team. They're only just getting started. Right now, they have a record of 5-6. The next summer games they're playing are going to be very interesting, and I see a world where they win about 5 to 10 straight of those games. If Devin Booker continues to play a couple games here and there and then just bounce, and in total he misses like 50 games, then yeah, Phoenix is going to be mid. But I think the Suns are done fucking around. I think they were just warming up. I think everything was just getting set up for what is going to transpire the rest of the year. So Spex, what's the scary truth about the Phoenix Suns? Devin Booker is only now just arriving. The team not only has its by far best player, but their point guard. Booker's been the point guard this year, and honestly, I think he's been pretty good. He's made a couple mistakes here and there, but so do all good point guards in the NBA. But if I can leave you with one thing to end this video, I will say this. Do not doubt a team that is hungry. Do not doubt a team that isn't fully healthy, because I don't think it's fair to judge that team. And Phoenix right now, they got most of their guys here. Everyone seems like they're ready to fucking go. And while Bradley Beal is a question in itself, don't be surprised if Phoenix starts to go on a run of their own. Now that Book's back, I'm excited to see how this team does. All right, Phoenix, it's time now. Go show them why you're the best team in the fucking West.